This is Billy Nicholson, and today we're interviewing Jacob Gallawa, a Pearl Harbor survivor. And we're going to talk with Jacob and find out all about what he was doing on December 7th, 1941. Jacob, tell me a little bit about your experience in the Navy. You joined before 1941.
I joined in 1938, right.
And what was your rank about that time, and how did you end up being in Pearl Harbor?
Well, I became a radioman when I got in the Navy. I went to radio school and became a radioman. And I was radioman first class, I think, when the war started.
Okay, radioman first class.
On the Peleus, yeah.
But you were on the ship. You weren't on the base.
No, I was on board the ship, a submarine tender.
A submarine tender. Okay.
Yeah. Of course, when the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor, they were after the battleships. They weren't after support ships like a submarine tender. They were after the battleships, and that's what they got, really.
And they did a good job of that.
They sure did, yeah. Yep.
And so what were you doing that morning?
I just relieved the watch. I was a radioman. I was first class radioman, and I just relieved the watch in the radio shack when the war started, and all the commotion started, and I'd run out. Everything was, we secured all the hatches and everything, you know, but I'd run out whenever I had a chance to see what was going on. It was quite a sight to see.
Well, did you maintain your radio decorum when you were talking
sure.
on the radio?
Sure. As soon as it started, we in the radio shack, you know, protect normal frequencies. And when the thing started, then we were on the right frequencies, and we had all the information. The bridge where the captain was, we'd pass along whatever information he needed to know, pass it along to him. And that's the way it went.
Okay.
It's kind of exciting, you know, for a young sailor that all this is going on around him, you know.
You got out of the Navy in 1943, did you say?
I think it was 43, I'm not sure, but I think it's 43, then I got back in again.
And how long did you stay after that?
I got out and I joined the reserve, and then actually I joined active duty. I just loved the Navy, and I didn't want to be out of the Navy. I wanted to be in it. So I got back in. And I served enough time to retire, you know.
Is that 30 years or something like that?
It was quite a number of years. I don't remember how many it was.
Do you remember what your final rank was when you retired?
I was a senior chief petty officer.
So you met your wife, who was also...
She was a radioman.
She was a radioman, and she was in the Coast Guard, right?
She was in the Coast Guard. I was an instructor at the radio school in Madison, Wisconsin, Navy Radio School. And I was an instructor there, and that's where I met her.
And she knew right away that you were the one.
Apparently so. And I did too. No, we seemed to hit it off.
Oh, that's great.
Although I was an instructor and she was a student, and we were not supposed to fraternize, you know. But we did see each other on the side. Once in a while we'd get together for coffee.
Then after a while, she got out of your class.
Right. And she went to Boston. She was in the Coast Guard. She went to the Coast Guard station in Boston, and I went overseas. And we communicated. We kept in touch and everything, you know. I have fond memories of the Navy. I always liked the Navy. I got in when I was quite young, and I always liked the Navy. So
were you a teenager?
I was 19, I think, when I went in. 18 or 19. Yeah. I come from a poor family, and we used to work sugar beets out in western Nebraska. And I wanted to get out of those sugar beets. It's hard work. And so I joined the Navy. And that got me out of the sugar beets.
But it was hard work too after a while, I'm sure.
Oh, I always enjoyed the Navy. It was a big experience for me.
So where did you serve overseas?
I served in Pearl Harbor. And I served in England. I served in South Africa. Oh, and I took a trip to Soviet Union. My boss was a Soviet linguist. In fact, the officers were all Soviet linguists, and we were radiomen. And it was a combined team number 5. It was a Russian team, Russian linguist team. And they served as liaison wherever we happened to go. They served with as liaison with the Soviets, wherever we went, you know. And I was in charge of the Radio Shack and a radio man, and we handled the communications for that team. They would write the messages and decipher them, and I'd send them along to wherever they had to go, to Washington normally. God, that was many years ago. So many years ago. It's a long time ago. I haven't thought about those things in a long time. I think I probably covered pretty well in my book, but I can't remember now.
And that's Jacob's Odyssey.
Jacob's Odyssey, right. I'm glad I wrote that book. It's a good story of my life.
That's great. Well, thank you again. Thank you so much for
Oh, I
taking the
appreciate it
time
so much.